From going unpicked in the 2019 NBA draft to signing a multi-year contract with an NBA side like the New York Knicks, DaQuan Jeffries' career is a story of resilience and determination. However, his signature definitely speaks more about the New York Knicks' strategy than DaQuan. Now, I'm not saying that DaQuan isn't a good player or that he doesn't have what it takes to become a successful NBA player.
Oh, great pass and a quick curl. DaQuan Jeffries at the rim for the lead.
But he just ran by him.
If you ask me, we've seen players less talented than him make good, reasonable careers for themselves in the NBA. So often, it's about the timing and the break you get. Even though he's been around the block, playing for teams such as the Sacramento Kings, Houston Rockets, and the Memphis Grizzlies, DaQuan Jeffries never really got his big break into the NBA, which is why I never really saw this move coming, especially considering the fact that the Knicks are quite heavily loaded when it comes to the shooting guard position, where they have players like Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, and even Josh Hart, who they picked up from Portland in February. So at least from the looks of it, it certainly doesn't strike me as signing for the short term.
Harkin and Embiid both on the bench. Here's Fournier. He got it.
And that's basically how the Knicks have operated as a franchise of late. The New York Knicks, at the moment, look like a team that is hell-bent on building a team for the future. They have a healthy salary situation and a roster of players who are still quite young and can potentially serve the franchise well for years to come. They have Jalen Brunson, who's just 26, and a championship-level point guard, if you ask me.
Sure, Jalen Brunson was going to play tonight. Hurt his foot on Sunday, and he comes up with a 30-point game.
Then there's Julius Randle, who is back playing at an all-star level this season.
5. After Robinson bobbled it, Randle gets a good look for 3. Julius Randle from downtown.
So the future looks bright for the franchise. And let me tell you, DaQuan has definitely earned his contract.
Congratulations on your contract.
On Sunday, the New York Knicks released a statement confirming that they've signed Jeffries on a contract. However, they didn't disclose any terms of the deal. But Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype reports that the 25-year-old has a guaranteed deal for the rest of this season, while it's not guaranteed for the 2023-24 season. And the Knicks can retain DaQuan on the roster through the training camp ahead of the next season, even though his deal is non-guaranteed for the next season. The former Sacramento Kings man would be delighted to get a guaranteed deal for the rest of this season. So, for this season, he has been playing for the Westchester Knicks, who are the G League team affiliated with the New York Knicks, where he has definitely been their best performer. In 21 games that he has played for them, he has scored an average of 21.3 points per game, which is a great scoring average. And to go with that, he has averaged 6.6 rebounds and 2.7 assists per game as well, with a 3P average of 39%. The only player who has a better scoring average for the Westchester Knicks this season is Miles McBride. However, he has only played one game for them, so the average really doesn't say much. Now, I know that these are G League numbers and don't really account for a lot when it comes to the NBA. But DaQuan's story is a great example of how the G League is a great platform to launch your NBA career. We all know the regular route into the NBA: play basketball at high school level, then college level, and then eventually declare yourself for the NBA draft. If you're picked by a franchise, you can then go on to prove yourself in the NBA. But what about players who don't get picked? And the players who get picked but end up warming the bench? The NBA is a brutal place where the demands to perform are extremely cutthroat, and the experts don't take too much time in deciding whether a player is good enough to make it in the NBA or not. DaQuan got his chance in the NBA with the Sacramento Kings and even the Houston Rockets, but didn't manage to impress a lot of people during his time there. However, you have to give him points for his resilience. It's difficult to be in the NBA and then drop down into the G League. And he not only went to the G League, he performed so well there that he eventually earned himself a contract with the New York Knicks. The 25-year-old is yet to play for the Knicks in the NBA, and might not get to for what remains of this season. But he can certainly take inspiration from some other stars who used to play in the G League, and then went on to make very successful careers for themselves in the NBA. players like Chris Middleton, Pascal Siakam, and Danny Green. This is a good lesson for all the young players out there who want to make it in the NBA. The move also signals the New York Knicks' intent to take risks. You guys remember the time when the Knicks cleared space in their salary cap in an attempt to sign the superstar duo of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, only to see them both move to the Brooklyn Nets. They were basically left high and dry in terms of their squad, as well as being exposed in front of their fans who were quite disappointed by the whole debacle. I feel it was at that moment when the Knicks decided to significantly revamp their strategy going forward, and they decided that rather than chasing big names, they were going to make smart recruitment decisions. As an alternate to the duo, the Knicks signed Julius Randle, who's easily been their top performer this season, with a scoring average of 25.1 points per game. The shift in their strategy was obviously quite bold and was never going to bring in results overnight. However, under veteran coach Tom Thibodeau, it finally seems as if their strategy is paying off. They currently sit in 5th position in the Eastern Conference, with a strong record of 44-33, looking all set for the NBA playoffs. They might not have superstars like Irving or Durant on their team, but they definitely have a team that works efficiently and can trouble any other team in the league on their day. And by all means, it's an exciting time to be a Knicks fan. As I've mentioned, the Knicks have a very exciting squad, filled with young players who can continue to play at the very top level for years to come. They have one of the league's best up-and-coming stars in RJ Barrett, who's just 22, and has been scoring at an average of 19.6 points per game. They have Quentin Grimes, who's also 22. But that's not even the most exciting fact about the franchise. Let me remind you that the New York Knicks have 11 first-round picks over the next 7 years. Yeah, you've heard right. 11. Now that means that they can certainly pick up a good amount of youngsters through the NBA draft in the upcoming years. Alternatively, they can also use these picks to put together some really good trades for themselves. In a way, not being able to sign Durant and Irving has been a blessing in disguise for them. Certainly after seeing how things unfolded with Irving and Durant at the Brooklyn Nets. And DaQuan's signing is another step in the right direction, if you ask me. Because looking at some of his performances in the G League this season, I can understand why the fans and analysts are so excited to see him in action in the NBA. And that was all about DaQuan Jeffries signing with the New York Knicks.